Hey everybody, today is Monday.
What's up?
Today is Monday.
Is it
One of
Monday?
these days I'm going to get this right. Hang on. There we go. Okay, today is Monday. Today is July 1st. And you guys know what that means.
What does that mean, Mike?
I'm playing it right now.
Oh.
Pow wow wow, it's the K Pro Cow Pow wow wow. They wanna find the treasure, they wanna find it now. They are K Pro and they are cow. They're going over it and over it and over it again. This treasure hunt created by Forrest Fenn. Sing it! K Pro Cow Pow wow.
All right, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good on this Monday afternoon. At least here in Vegas, it's still afternoon at 6 p.m. And you guys know what happens at 6 p.m. on Mondays. It's K-Pro and Cal. And we go live. How you doing, K-Pro?
I am great because I made it through Monday. I actually looked for a couple of the, I don't know what they call them, the little quotes that say, Monday's terrible and da-da-da. And there wasn't one good enough to be like William Epic. Like
William Epic.
Yeah, like William does a few of them. He's on the F word off like humor, and I love those. But I'm on like kitty and puppy stuff, so they never seem good enough. But I made it through Monday, so I'm feeling.
But I heard one good thing about Mondays is there's cookies in somebody's channel.
Oh my God, I'm so full. I don't know how Holly does it. I think my guess is I don't know how she does it. She must run probably 10, 20 miles a day. I got my cookie from Tuesday, and I don't know if I can make it through. I'm glad I worked out earlier today. I didn't. I sat at the pool.
That's kind of a workout.
I got in the pool, so there is a
that helps.
And so actually I had a bunch of kids jumping on me and we were playing things. So
all right. So just a reminder, thumbs up the video if you guys like the K-Pro Cow Powwow. Subscribe to the channel. Super chat's on if anybody has a burning question.
Super chat.
And anything you want to say before we recap Sunday? And I'm going to make K-Pro spill her secrets live tonight. But anything you want to talk about, K-Pro, before we get to that? And then after that, we'll get into the thrill of the chase.
I don't know.
No, maybe.
Yes, I will give one public service announcement. I will say Fenbury is this week.
That's right.
There's been drama and problems and issues. I will say Function in the Junction was so fun because people left those behind. People asked some questions, but just go and have fun. Leave it all behind and just have a great time. I think
that's what happens, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping happens. So, and yes, we had the tech issues have been overcome. Maybe actually, right when you ask a hard-hitting question, I'm going to go,
yeah, right. I pretend. Yeah. So what it was, everybody, I called my cable company, which out here in Vegas is Cox. There's a pun there, but I'll leave it alone. Because I was paying like $185 for the bundle for phone, cable, and internet, and I said, "You got to lower this. This is too much." So they did. They said, "Okay, we'll lower it to like 140, and we won't change anything." Well, they did change something. They changed my internet speed. I went from high preferred down to the basic tier, and that's why the frame rate was dropping. That's why we were stuttering on YouTube. I should have known. I should have clicked right away because it was Thursday. I called them. It was Thursday night when we had the problem, but it took me a little while to finally get it. And I'm like, "Oh, those jerks!"
Right at the 20-minute mark.
Yeah.
Like after a certain amount of time.
So if it happens again tonight, then we're in trouble. But no, that is it. Now I've got a higher speed than I did before. I'm getting like 168 megabits per second. So
do not name your
good for gaming
anymore.
Yeah.
In the chat room, okay.
Right. So that's what that was. So for anybody that didn't know, we went live a couple times on Sunday. Me and K-Pro did because we were trying to work out the video issues. And of course, instead of just working out the video issues, of course we talked Forrest Fenn because that's what we do. So this is what we determined, everybody. This is something we determined, which I think is pretty interesting. Using logic, we determined. So somebody out there has the FOIA. I don't know who that is. I don't know. K-Pro's never said who it is. But from secondhand knowledge, I hear somebody has got the FOIA. And what that means is the treasure chest was in Forrest Fenn's vault as of July of 2009. because the raid was, now you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but the raid on Forrest Fenn's house was July of 2009. And because they have pictures of the treasure chest, it was still in his vault at that time. And then Douglas Preston comes along in the preface to Once Upon a While and says, I know the treasure chest was gone by August of 2010. So that means between July 2009 and let's call it July of 2010, that's when the treasure chest was hidden. So the question was posed in the chat room. If you take those two, I'll call them assumptions. If you take those two assumptions as fact, that means the treasure chest was hidden within that year. And I think it was Minotaur Moreno who had a very good question. He said, if those two things are true, is there any way to know if Mr. Forrest Fenn traveled to the Yellowstone area from July 2009 to July 2010? Now, if the answer is yes, there's a way to prove that. We want to hear from K-Pro to find out the answer because I don't know the answer. But all it means is he traveled, but that means the treasure chest could be in New Mexico. It could be in Colorado because he drove up through Colorado. It could be in Yellowstone. It could be all the way up in Montana. All it proves is that he was in all 4 states. That's all I'm saying. But if there was nobody who's like, no, he never made the trip in that year, then that would kind of point toward New Mexico. So what K-Pro has agreed to do is tell us, one, if she knows and how she knows. Do we know if Forrest has ever made the trip to the Yellowstone area or the Cody area? No, between July 2009 and July 2010. Is everybody following along? Does everybody see the logic progression here?
Do we need to recap? I mean, I think we might need to recap.
It's interesting. I mean, we're figuring some things out. I think it's interesting to me.
The reason that I said last night I would talk about it tonight is this was exactly when the technical issue
it really did.
And I didn't want anyone to think that I was trying to dodge the question because I take a very different philosophy than some searchers. 99% of things I'm willing to discuss with searchers or put out there. I learned it the hard way. When you tell one person, they secret audio record you and then they put it out to everybody. So why not just give it to everybody? So I am up for discussing it with everybody. And Mike has kids tonight, and I still have kids as well. So there's going to be times we're in and out. So last night when we started discussing all of this, it kind of like looked weird timing wise. So I said, before we start the actual show, we would revisit. There was the Cody visit. There was the West Yellowstone visit. Who and his family has searched the FOIA and donations. I'm not willing to go there because that's something that's new and a solve. But there, am I too high?
No, I said click the thumbs up button. That's what that meant. Sorry, sorry. Not that you're too high. No, the volume sounds good. Everybody, let us know if
yeah, let us know
everything
if there's
sounds good.
So those are the things that I will tell you that I am up for discussing and answering those questions.
Now, Hooley says, yes, he was in Cody for the high style fashion show in Cody, but that's not, is that 2009, 2010? I don't know. Was that?
I don't know exactly. I don't know which event he was in for.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'm interested in that year because we know that that is the year the treasure chest was hidden. So, okay, go ahead, K-Pro.
Your independent information. I will say, do I know for sure that he was there? No, because I didn't know Forrest Fenn. I wasn't familiar with the chase. I didn't know anything about him in 2009 and 10. So did I
think
hear?
Very few of us did. I don't even think Cynthia knew him back then. Yeah.
So do I know directly? No. But do I put my Sean Martinez, I am an investigative reporter or investigator. I wish to be, but no, I'm not that. But I, at least when I took one of my first recons, boots on the ground, everybody knows I failed miserably. And I spent some time talking to people in bars, talking to hotel. I don't think I've ever talked about talking to people in hotels.
This is up in the Yellowstone area?
Yes. So here's what I know, and I'm just going to throw it out there. The first thing that I know is I spent quite a bit of time, a couple of hours. So, okay, after I crashed from Boots on the Ground, I went to a bar called Bullwinkle's. Bullwinkle's is owned by, hello, Jolawicki. Bullwinkle's is owned by Forrest Fenn's family. Mike and I met the family member again this time, and she was very pleasant.
Oh, yeah.
Very busy. But the last time, basically, the search partner I had, a family member, he said, quit asking everybody about Forrest Fenn. And I said, I'm going to ask one last person. And I turned to the waitress and I said, do you know Forrest Fenn? She said, yeah, he's my cousin. And I said, what? And like, well, I'm more of a distant cousin, but Chip, if you guys know who Chip is, Chip has rescue searchers. He lives right near Paradise, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Paradise.
And
Okay.
he's like right over there. He's a construction crew manager. And I turned to my family member and I said, I got to go buy those guys a round of drinks and I need to hear some certain stories. And he's like, dear Lord, here she goes. I know it's shocking to hear. I might be a little bit social. So I went over and asked the guys, can I buy you a round? And Chip turned to his crew and said, can she buy you a round? And they all said, yes. And there was maybe 4 or 5 guys. I brought them around and he said, I don't drink. I will take a water, but if you're a searcher, I told him what I was doing. He's like, I'll come over and talk with you. So I was with the male search partner that I was with. And I will just say he got in a little bit of trouble because his food, he actually did some what?
Not that make people making jokes of the chat. Go ahead, I'm listening. So just so anybody who doesn't know, there is family of Forrest Fenn that still lives to this day in the Yellowstone area. So, and K-Pro ran into one in this bar, and let's hear this. What happened?
Yeah. So, and you stop me if this story is boring. I have no problem in not sharing it. So I happened to talk with him for a little bit. He actually connected, I think, a little bit better with the search partner I was with. But basically, we talked for about an hour. And yes, Gregory, Totem Cafe is now Bullwinkle's. So we were on the bar side, and I did tell Forrest I was there, which was really cool that he knew that I was in the old Totem Cafe. And basically, Chip told us lots and lots and lots and lots of interesting things over about 4 hours. The food, the to-go food that came, it got cold after a few hours, and he finally his niece or daughter-in-law came over, Forrest, whatever, came over and was like, you're going to get a divorce unless you leave. That was like,
nice.
I want to say it was about 6 and it was about maybe 10 or 11 when that happened. So who owns Bullwinkle's? I don't know her name exactly. She's a very pleasant, very nice, blonde, probably mid 50, 60-ish, or she at least runs the shop. And she is the cousin, and they told me the lineage.
The cousin of who?
Forrest
okay.
Fenn.
Making sure we're all clear.
He hid treasure in the Rockies. I did not. I personally don't think it's important to know all the lineage and things. I just know he's related. And so actually she was getting ready to go off to law school. She says, oh, I've searched a few times, but if you want to hear any good stories, talk to Chip. Chip, obviously I didn't get a few drinks in him because he doesn't drink. He just had waters, but he was a searcher.
He is a searcher. He has looked.
He was a searcher.
So he knows the poem. He knows the whole story. Okay.
He did.
I mean,
I'm going to throw out a few things that he told me at that time. One, he saw the previous version of the poem. 2, he has gotten a call from Forrest on several occasions where he is the person that is actually, he's referenced up on Del Nicole's site. He has actually rescued a few searchers. He has told me where Forrest's daughters, I will not mention which one or any name, family has searched, and he thought that was important. He has told me where he believes Forrest actually stayed during the time that he believes during 2009-10. I won't say which. He did give me an exact month. That becomes important later.
Okay.
Where he actually stayed. So
I'll just recap real quick to make it very clear for everybody. According to a distant cousin, you could say, of Forrest Fenn, a cousin? Yeah. Forrest was up in the Yellowstone area between July 2009, July 2010, and I think we've pretty much proved that between July 2009, between July 2010 is when the treasure chest was hidden. Again, that's opinion. I get it. But I just think it's interesting for people that are always like, well, he lives in New Mexico. He hid it in New Mexico. He was gone and home in the same afternoon. If him and Peggy were in a hotel room, I think it's very fair to say he was gone and home in one afternoon back to the hotel room. Home is wherever you're staying at the time, in my opinion. So, yeah. Right?
Okay, so let's pause for a minute as you recapped. And anywhere that there is, I will note, this is the most groundbreaking thing. I have figured out where I don't have to be K-Pro Thor. I'm just K-Pro now. And if you
What?
highlight or super chat, I will figure out how to answer you. So let me
Oh,
go
I
back
see.
to it.
So when somebody says at KPro, it's now highlighted in the chat and you can see it?
Right, I
Okay.
can see it. So Gregory,
So, yeah.
wasn't the Totem Cafe now Bullwinkles? Yes. In my opinion, yes. I don't know for
Well,
sure.
what I've heard, what I heard
Like,
from what?
yeah,
Oh,
Alan K is like, open the floodgates. You know what? Let's bring it.
that's
Let's
good info. And for anybody that says we're cheating, because you know, it's whatever. Everybody's
I
entitled to their opinion, but I don't want to hear it. All we're doing is talking about is maybe when the treasure chest was hidden and where was Forrest during
yeah,
that
we're
time. That's
cheating
all.
by sharing with everyone.
Yeah, right. So okay. Oh, now I lost. Oh, so I talked to Jeff, the owner of Pete's Pizza, and I thought he said that the original Totem Cafe was down the road. Now it's where Bullwinkle's is.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
yeah. So I
you
don't
said
know.
that to me, and I thought,
Yeah.
oh,
Unless I
Bullwinkle.
misunderstood him, and maybe I misunderstood him, but yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. Thorkelser, does Forrest know that you know this stuff? Joel Lewicki, I will say he does know because I texted him just before. I'm like, oh, I went into Bullwinkles, and he's like, well, you know, my family owns that. Why don't you go in and say hi to?
Yeah, whoever.
I'm sorry to say, I don't even remember. And I did, and she wasn't there, but the rest of the family was there, and all that. Does she know? Does he know every single little detail? Even if I had told him, and I don't remember exactly what I told him, there is no way that I remember nor he remembers. It just wasn't that impactful because Skip has actually met many, many searchers. I talked to Cynthia, and he had met Cynthia. He's met Dale.
Mm-hmm.
He told me a
Oh,
whole
Chip has.
variety
Yeah.
of searchers that he has met. Um, like,
Jackie owns the Bullwinkles. Does Jackie sound familiar? The name
like
Jackie?
O? I don't know.
Jackie's the name. I don't know.
What was the
Not
name
that it
of
matters, but
the blonde?
oh,
Very
I don't know.
nice
Yeah,
woman?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the name.
And
So
confident
was
that-
Peggy with him? Do you know if Peggy was with him?
I'll get. We haven't gotten to that part of the story. Okay, Chip, as a searcher, was he open to you about sharing the info about the chase? William, yes, he was. He was very open. He told me where he searched. He told me where he thought the other family members, direct family members like children, grandchildren, had searched. He did not think they had any information. He thought they were searching to try to end this thing. And I'll get to that in a minute. You have to post a comment before any of us can highlight you. No, Sassy, I can see you. All you have to do is put. Now you guys are going crazy. I can see lots and lots of them. They moved the building. Gregory, maybe they did. I can just tell you what I know. Mike got that information from one of the locals. But for me, he just told me when I said we're going to Bullwinkles because we're staying at the Dude, because that's what you do when you're a Forrest Fenn searcher. Forrest had actually emailed me back when I crashed, and I was like, Forrest, I'm so mad at you. And I said, I just went to Bullwinkles, and actually, me and my search partner, family member, went back to the hotel, and he was like, oh, my family owns that, and I'm like, we've got to go back. And he's like, he's not into the social thing at all. He is much.
Chip,
he
we're
is,
still talking about?
no, we're talking about my family member.
Oh,
He did
sorry.
not
I
go back.
was dealing with Eric.
Um,
I have the boys all week. Somebody says the building was physically moved. The Totem Cafe was physically moved a few hundred feet up the block on Canyon Street to what now is Bullwinkle. So that makes sense. Thanks, True Believer.
yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Okay.
That's what I heard from
So
Jeff.
Jackie
Okay.
owns Bullwinkles. Gregory says that there is a link. Okay, then her name was Jackie. I didn't get her name. Things were rocking and rolling. Those of you that know and were at Function in the Junction, things were rocking and rolling there. And actually, we asked on the bar side if they could do a couple things for us, and they're like, oh, well, the owner's on the other side, you're going to need to talk with her. And we went over, and things were just hopping. They were so nice to us, though. The branch wasn't. Don't go to the branch. Okay.
So Off Trail Jaeger has a question. K-Pro, did you get the impression the trip, Forrest Fenn's trip, was unusual for Forrest, or something he did on a regular basis or annual basis, the trip? If you know.
I believe it was a family trip. It wasn't like a Cody of the West directorship.
It was a personal trip.
It was a
like
personal.
almost like he had something to do up there. It's crazy. Again, guys, this is just opinion. We're just having fun with some things.
Well, I
K-Pro
haven't even gotten to that part of the story. So
okay.
I'm only gonna say the pieces that I recall and remember.
Yeah.
I do not take. I have super detailed notes somewhere, but they're in boxes from the move. I'm just going by memory. If anyone has this is before secret audio recordings happened, so I'm just going by memory, and I might be wrong but this is how I remember it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So keep going with the
So
story. So you
okay,
know what
so
somebody asked what city this hotel was in that he stayed in.
I don't know. It's called Paradise. It's a Paradise Ranch.
Oh, it's called Paradise.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay. I'll look it up right now.
Paradise Ranch, and this is where okay, so this is what Chip said. Right, wrong, or indifferent. This is what
Mm-hmm.
Chip said. Peggy's not exactly the type to rough it intense.
Right.
So if you look up Paradise, and that's all I was told, and that's actually right next to where Chip lives. And he said that is an all-inclusive place where you get all your meals. They give you a little cabin, all the meals, etc. You should look into it because that's where they stayed. He said, "I'm not saying that is where it's hidden. This is if you look at lightning and some of the pictures, I will say that's right near some of the pictures in TTOTC. I'm not even going there on whether it is the case or not. So, hi, Luli.
So was it Paradise or Paradise Valley? Because I see two places on the map: a Paradise and a Paradise Valley. Any idea?
I've looked it up at a time, and actually,
Okay.
Cynthia corrected me. She's like, "You keep saying one of them, and it's actually the other one." That's why I don't. It's like Paradise Valley Ranch Resort or something like that, or ranch or something. I don't.
Okay, hang on. Let me look up. And everybody, you can look this up yourselves. I'm just looking up Paradise Valley, Montana, and it is about an hour north of Yellowstone National
No,
Park.
but it's an actual
Yeah.
resort. It's right next to.
Oh, I
Hepton.
gotcha.
It's on the way out to Hepton Lake, and I might be pronouncing it wrong. I know some people have issues with that.
Okay. All right.
So
Interesting.
he
Interesting stuff. Yeah.
okay, just throwing it out, and it might be totally wrong. This is third-hand information. You can totally discount it. You can click off right now. It's okay. I'm just throwing out something that I know as factual information that was presented to me. But anyway, one room cabin in paradise. Okay. So he said you need to try to go out there and at least look at it. And he also did some analysis on their hotel registry. When you come in, there's a little book and they ask you to sign in. It's
Oh, old school.
wedding registry.
Yeah, okay.
It's very cool. It's very old school. Think of City Slickers.
Yeah.
It is like you come in and you're a part of things.
So
I decided to take a half a day.
yeah.
I went out there with my search partner, and I will say I didn't disclose at first. I was just like, that could be a place. I'm a Flatlander. I could stay there. So I asked a ton of questions about many things, and I did discover potentially the room that he stayed in. So I spent some time there, and then I happened to make my way back to one of the guides rather than I knew that the front desk probably wouldn't be like, here, let me give you the information. I told them what we were doing. And they're like, yeah, we get a lot of searchers here. And this is more of the Flatlander. I mean, it's pretty expensive there because it's all inclusive. So they provide all the meals. They provide a cabin.
You stayed there? You actually stayed there?
No.
Oh, you just visited. Okay.
I visited there, and I was kind of a potential person that could. And so I toured their different cabins. I did ask some questions like, do you have everybody sign in? They don't mandate people to sign in, that sort of thing. Chip had indicated that he believes there was some indication that Forrest and Peggy at the time had stayed there. I was not able to gain anything direct knowledge. I just go by Skip. So yeah, I was a potential guest because I totally fit the bill. I didn't have I whatever. So, so I spent some time there. I will say that when some searchers have gotten lost back in the canyon, back behind Paradise, Chip has actually saved some people, and so we will give him a huge shout out. But here is the most I actually called Sun Valley, page 54. Hold on. Book at too far to walk. There's my Once Upon a While. There's my TTOTC.
All right, sorry. What are we looking for?
We are looking for, what are we looking for? Too Far to Walk, page 54.
Oh, somebody's got something they're pointing out. Mine's buried back there. As soon as I get thrill of the chase, we go to too far to walk.
Yeah, of course. 37, 54. 54. If that's it, 54? I don't think that's it. I can tell you where I think it's it. Look at the cover. Well, I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. I think it's where he's with Lightning in TTOTC. We did a lot of guessing, but I mean, Chip's been on Dale's site. They've talked about him. He is not an unknown. I think, but I might be totally wrong. That might be the area that we're looking at, but I don't know. Paradise Rest Ranch. Do you mean Mike? Look that up. I can show you the
Paradise or Parade?
Oh,
Paradise?
Parade. Try Parade Rest Ranch. No, I think it's called Paradise. It's up. It's up Hepton Way. Let's just say.
Yeah, this is Parade, so no, that's not it. If you're saying it's called Paradise, then that's not it.
It's not an unknown. I threw it out to some of the seasoned vets, and they're like, "Yeah, been there, done that. We've all explored it." I was like, "Okay," but I thought it was informational. If it's indeed the case that, and it's a huge if, that Forrest was there sometime in that window of time that we're talking about with Peggy, I actually do believe he probably hit all 4 states. That's just my guess. I don't know if that's the case or not. So anyway, and it kind of fit. If Peggy was not as much of a just rough it in a tent, I'm not a rough it in a tent kind of person. It fit. And Chip didn't seem the type of person that would ever purposely deceive. He was just kind of like, here. So I called my old search partner yesterday because I said, this is going to come up when we had this long discussion with Chip. What do you see? Paradise Ranches on Greenland next to Hebden. I don't know if that's the Paradise near. I don't think it's Parade. I think it was. I'll look it up after, and we'll put a link. It's an all-inclusive. It's several $100s a night. So I mean, it's an all-inclusive. I want to say, okay. Okay, William's saying he knows the name. So whatever he says, paradiseranch.com is what Bill Gorman says. So it looks like it's out there. So I'll look it up later. That's one piece to this. There's so much more to the story, but we can focus on this part.
I mean, there's more to the story.
Well, I'm trying to move on to the rest of the story, but everybody wants to know exactly paradiseranch.com. Okay, let's look at that. Maybe Mike, bring that up. Let's pause the story. Go ahead. Mike, you're muted.
Yeah, I know. I got the kids. We're having an issue over here. So there's Wyoming's Best Dude Ranch, Paradise Guest Ranch. Is that it?
I think. Can you bring it up?
Yeah, let me see. Oh, I have the website. Let me see where it is.
I can tell you if it's the one I visited.
All right, well, here, you're watching YouTube? Here, check this out. Is this it? Paradise Guest Ranch. Cabins and dining. Activities. Horseback, hiking, fishing. Kids programs.
Give me some other pictures. No, I don't know about that.
About.
Was there fishing?
I'm sure there is. Yeah, I don't know. Where did the name Paradise come from?
Okay, that's not enough. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, does it matter? Does it matter if we find out the one? Well, all it's proving is that Forrest was up in the area. That's all. Doesn't mean he hit it. It just means he could have hit it. You know.
Could have hit it. Okay, so it actually, that's exactly the point. It actually wasn't the exact resort. It was just Peggy and Forrest had been up there at that time. I again believe, and that's why I didn't go. I actually put it up on Chase Chat before it, sunk. That it was, and then I deleted everything. But I actually put that up there. Cowlazars video freeze at the 27-minute mark. Uh-oh, are we starting to freeze?
It's not frozen for me, so refresh, I guess, William, because it looks fine on mine. else?
Okay, so there's 216 million hits for Paradise Valley. Let's
Nice,
see.
Alan.
Okay, I'll ask Cynthia. She'll be able to find it pretty quick because I mean, it's right where Chip lives. And anyway, okay, so we can continue. All good here. I'm good. Not frozen for me. Okay, we're gonna keep going unless someone wants me to stop. I don't know. What questions do you guys have? Because there's lots more, but I answered the question from last night. There you have it. Mike said he's making me. There, I did it.
Then that's the story.
That's the story. There's one story there, right there.
All right. Well, no, all it is, it's interesting. It just shows that Forrest was in the area during the time frame we think the treasure chest was hidden. That's all. Doesn't
Well,
mean he hit it. He drove. Did he drive up there or did he fly? Do you know?
I do not, or I did not have that handed out to me as information.
Okay, but if he drove, that means he went right through Colorado. So it means he could have hit it. If they overnighted somewhere. I mean, how long would the drive be from Santa Fe up to Yellowstone? I don't even know.
I think Cynthia's. She
A couple
drives.
days. Yeah, well then there you go. They would have spent the night somewhere. So it's
So here is the most.
so in other words, all 4 search states are in play. That's all.
There's lots of little tidbits from that conversation, but there was one thing that he said when I asked my old search partner, "Do you remember that meeting?" And we spent hours. Do you believe what was the one thing that you took away that you remember the most? Because this was like 3 years ago, 3 years ago. And he said, here's the quote that he gave me. He's like, if anybody, now he's no longer in the chase, so he doesn't care. He said, I believe Forrest Fenn could hide the treasure chest right in front of your face, and if he didn't want you to find it, you wouldn't find it. Something like that. Like basically, he's so smart he could put it right in front of your face. And he did see the old version of the poem with "Throw Your Bones" and all of that. And Forrest asked him for input at that time. So those are a couple of the things that we talked about. We had lots of good discussion about. So there you go. There you have it. There it is. So there's lots of other things of Cody, and there's lots of other. I mean, we talked a little bit about the FOIA last night. We talked about who in his family has actually searched there. All of that has been, I don't know. Did you mention where his children, grandchildren were searching? I don't know anything more than it was up north. They were in West Yellowstone. That's the only thing that I knew from that time. So that's all I had. So that was enough. I felt so blessed to get so much of his time and for him to say the things that he did. That's what we had. James, we're going to go boots on the ground next spring. Well, definitely for Function in the Junction, and we are in the West Yellowstone area. I will just say in that area, we've gotten a couple of leads of things kind of like what we talked about that are kind of refining to us that are kind of mentioned in the book or things. So all I heard is the daughter or daughters. I did not hear both or not. And Chip, they are just searching in West Yellowstone area. That's all I heard. So I don't know if it's 2 hours out, 4 hours out. I did not get any more detail. He didn't volunteer it. It was a very low key kind of conversation. So he gave us his card and said, anytime you want to come up. I've actually lost his card or I would have contacted him. Mike and I did not fit that in on the last visit. So there you have it.
Sorry about that, everybody. Don't bother going to West Yellowstone during the spring. It will still be buried in snow. Yeah, we kind of found that out from the weather. That it was crazy. The weather in June that was there.
Yeah, the snow. So.
Has anyone ever seen Peggy since the chase has started? I haven't. I don't know about anybody else.
Yes, I have several times.
In person?
What? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So Peggy's great. So yeah, absolutely. And I don't think I'm alone. There's many searchers that have, especially when Randy and they did like Forest House was kind of like the central place. I don't know. That was before I was around. Didn't Fenn go to Board of Trustees annual meeting in Cody? I'm not 100%, but I think it's September was 2009 or 10. I don't know when he dropped off the board. I've done a ton of work in Center of the West, and I will say that's a whole different story about. It's amazing when you sit and talk with people that don't think you're searchers and just talk with them. They will give up a lot of information, and it is interesting how much he's donated, what he's donated, how he's donated, etc. But I think there's a couple searchers, especially famous searchers, that are really focused on that spot that get really sensitive. That I've like their information, but Center of the West is an amazing. If you want to do any research, McCracken Library is a research library that's a part of Center of the West. Put in the keyword imagination. See what you get. I actually think that's where the hint for imagination comes from. But anyway, I won't go down that rabbit hole because yeah, I sure have.
All right. Was there anything else, or is that it?
That's all I have. Unless there's questions, I will answer questions.
Well, that's it, everybody. So, what, Mike? Can you help me freak my students out? Hey, Eric. Please say, hey, Amy, Lucy, Evan, and Lucas, no more Korean talking in Eric teacher's class. That's right. Boom. Amy, Lucy, Evan, and Lucas, pay attention and do what Eric tells you to do.
Evan Penn is saying I'm extra calm today. I'm just like, I'm bringing, it's like the tidal wave that isn't like boom, the tidal wave. It's like the little roll in tidal wave.
Well, I think it's because you figured out what state the treasure chest is in, so the rest is all easy.
General area. I'm not going to see if it's on a border or not. Some people are asking me which state. I'm not saying that yet. I don't know. I'll just say north.
So you said a hotel had the antique sign-in register?
Mm-hmm.
Now, but if Forrest was there to hide the treasure chest, do you think he would have signed it? Or would that be proof that he was somewhere so he wouldn't sign it? I wonder.
Or if he would have even paid, or is there a registry that some people have looked at?
Oh, what, you think somebody's already found the day that he was there?
You would need to ask Skip. Let's just
Skip? Oh, Chip.
I'm Chip.
Yeah, oh, Chip. Well, that's interesting. I mean, if I had a cousin that hit a multi-million-dollar treasure, I'd be involved, especially if I was in the area where I thought it was. I'd be looking around too.
Well,
so
and he is somebody who saves searchers and all that. He just seems like such a genuine fool. That's all I mean. Is he's a very nice person, and yeah.
And then there's always been the rumor that Chip may have been the 200-foot searcher, right? Because that's been a rumor. I mean, nobody knows, but yeah, others have said that. Yeah, but I don't know. You don't think so?
I do not. For my investigative PI.
Kolchak over here. Kolchak, anybody? Anybody go that far back? You know who Kolchak is?
No.
Yeah, okay. It's on Netflix for a while, huh?
Oh, Netflix, which I don't have, TV, which I don't watch, movies.
Oh, okay. Kolchak the Night Stalker. Anybody? It's an awesome show. Me and my mom used to watch that all the time. Okay, so there you have it, everybody. We just wanted to show, again, this is opinion. You're taking K-Pro at her word that she had this conversation, blah, 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 but this is just opinion. It is secondhand that Forrest was in the area during the year when we believe it was hidden. That's all. So I think it's interesting. I think it opens up all 4 search states. You know, a lot of people are like, he lives in New Mexico. When he was gone and back in the same afternoon, how could it be anywhere else? Well, if they stayed for a couple days up in this Paradise Resort area, I think it's valid when he says, I left in an afternoon, I made 2 trips, and I was back the same afternoon. He was back to the hotel or to the resort or wherever Peggy was that they were staying. So that's all. Joel says, that's not all of it. Come on, what's the good stuff? What's the rest?
You know what? Hey, Joel, on a future show, you can take your lawyer skills and come on. I will never lie, but I'm also not going to divulge everything without a question.
Ooh.
So if you want to come on and ask me questions, I will be happy to answer them.
A deposition. Let's do it.
Threw it down, Joel Wiki. I might totally regret it, Joel Wiki, but I'm Joel Wiki.
I don't know. Have you ever conducted a deposition before, Joel? That could be interesting. But I think you got one of those faces you can read pretty easy, K-Pro. So you'd be like, I don't know. And then you're like, you know what I mean? Like when you have some info, you're like, oh.
That's just because you know me a little bit better.
Maybe that is. Okay.
I don't know. So.
Yeah, but Peggy didn't know he had left to hide it. Doesn't that eliminate an overnight stay on the way?
Oh, I don't.
Why would that eliminate an overnight stay?
I do not think he stayed overnight anywhere. In my opinion, I think if he got up to Yellowstone, it would be within a day's drive of wherever they stayed. In my opinion, afternoon.
No, but I think he's saying along the way they would have got a room. I don't think Forrest. How old would he have been back then? 80, 79, or 80 years
Yeah, I don't
old? Is he driving 20 hours straight? I think he's going to get
I
a
haven't
room
really
and
thought
spend the
about
night.
did they drive. I wouldn't think. Hey, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't even pretend to know.
it's all conjecture. But Peggy didn't know he had left to hide it. Doesn't that eliminate an overnight stay? Well, I don't understand. Why does that eliminate an overnight stay, Tim Walker? So they get a hotel room, and then the next morning. Oh, unless he means you get a room for the night, and the next morning you're gone. Like they didn't spend enough time so that he had an afternoon to go. Well, to me, that just points to West Yellowstone. Up there is where they stayed the couple of days. Whenever they got up there, I'm sure they didn't drive all the way to West Yellowstone for one night and then turn around and drove all the way back. So if they're there for a whole week, that's even more evidence that it's up in that area. In my opinion, everybody.
I want to be clear. This is the stuff that I discovered before I knew Forrest Fenn was related to Forrest Fenn, that I could be cheating and like harassing some old man that manipulates him and takes over the chase. Like some people are saying, like just the good stuff. None of this is good stuff until like I actually met him, right? And I didn't meet him until it was actually 1 year ago this weekend that I met him. And so I will
say that again. It was 1 year ago this weekend that you actually met him in person.
It was so. Okay. Some people have said they're picking apart my words. When did I actually meet Forrest? It was 4th of July that I met Forrest privately for the first time with Jason.
Last year.
The 3rd when I was up at the bookstore.
Oh, gotcha.
Forrest didn't want to meet me privately because of the people that try to make him feel like, or try to make innuendos crap. And so he said, so when I said the first time I met him was 4th of July with Jason, that was the first time I met him privately. You can pick apart words and be ridiculous, but that makes you ridiculous human beings. And so it was 3rd of July the first time. So I'm coming up to my anniversary Forrest Fenn. Oh, I'll have to send him an email.
Go to Fenbury and surprise him. You'd probably surprise everybody if you showed up at Fenbury. No plans.
Sorry, I have other plans that are. Yeah.
Hooli says, Cowlazars, is this also the weekend you met Chris? Meaning K-Pro. No, I met K-Pro in Forrest Fenn's den. The drawing, the Jamie Jordan raffle was on a Thursday. So I think I met you, was it Tuesday? Something like that. Or Wednesday,
so a ridiculous story.
September.
So
yeah.
I went in 4th of July weekend. I think it was the next visit because I started boots on the ground. I want to say it was August. Mm-hmm. And I was with Cynthia and Forrest said, do you know Jamie Jordan? And I said, yes. And he said, will you do a fundraiser for her? She lost her home and business. And I said, I've seen that. I said, Forrest, I don't do anything without doing it big. You're going to have to commit. And he's like, if you'll go big, I'll go big. And we did this witty thing that some people might have heard on secret audio. And so we kind of went back and forth. And I was like, heck yeah. And I said, look, I got to tell you, I need Cynthia because Cynthia's gear on the ground. And I said, I don't know who else I need, but I think the guy, I said, do you know Mike Cowlazars? And he said, yes. I said, he did all those millions of coins. I need somebody
over 1,000
tickets. Yeah. And
it was all meant to be, everybody. He knew me from the coin and then, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I said, what do you think of Mike? And Coffer Dan was there when we met. Okay. So I called Mike, or I said, Mike, I know
Copper Dan was there at the Blue Corn, but we actually met before that at Forrest's house.
Yeah, maybe a day or two. We don't want private investigators getting involved. So I called Mike. This was sometime, maybe the next day, and I said, Mike, would you be willing to do? You did the coin. Forrest has said you would be great because you're into all the nitty-gritty details. I will do the overarching piece. Cynthia will do the on-the-ground piece for all of the face stuff. Would you be willing to do it? And he's like, who is this?
Yeah, you were like, you don't know me, but, and I'm like, you're like, I own Hint of Riches, and I'm like, yeah, I think I've heard of it. I never really been on it.
You still don't post on it, like.
But it's funny because I was going to help out, but I'd never thought of actually going to Santa Fe. And then a week or two into this, when it was getting really big with all the donations, you're like, oh, no, you have to be there with me. Well, and I'm like, okay.
I said, like, I thought I was just selling tickets and coordinating. And I'm like,
yeah,
Mike, you've got to, like, come and be a part of things. And the introvert that he was, that is
Took
the
a little
first time we
prodding, but
did it.
Capril got it
Took a little
done.
prodding, and we didn't like. There was the one night where he made sure him and Decall made sure I was safe. We didn't have a lot of conversation. There was just so much going on. But then it was maybe a month or two later that I was like, "Hey, Mike," and we started talking more, and we knew each other more, and the rest is history. Let's not get into that, you guys.
Right, right,
Anyway,
right.
so I'm
So
so
yeah,
glad that we ventured into that part of the conversation.
but
That
no,
is
it's a good point. Somebody said, "How could Peggy not even know that Forrest was gone if this was an afternoon when he hid the treasure?" And somebody was like, "Probably because he was fishing. He probably goes fishing for
no,
4 or 5 hours." What?
no. I believe Forrest has been somebody that has been okay. My opinion. I have dealt with quite a few people that are high corporate people, people that constantly have meetings with press, meetings with other people. When he sits on the board of directors, etc., I don't think he checked in with Peggy and said, "Here's what I'm doing at 8, here's what I'm doing at 9, here's what I'm doing at noon." He said, "Hey, I'm having to go do some things today. I'll be back tomorrow." And it might have been center of the West. It might have been going and meeting with some people in West Yellowstone.
Yeah, could have
It
been
might have
meeting
been
Chip. You never know.
right, and
Yeah,
it could have been anything. I don't think she pried. I think she had her own, and she was taken care of really well
right.
at Paradise, Parrot, whatever. Just like in Santa Fe, I think he could go out for meeting with Dorothy, or a meeting with the bookstore, or a meeting with different people, or Jackie O coming in, or whatever. I think he was. I think she, and this is my opinion, I think she was the person that kept the family and caretaking going,
Mm-hmm.
and he would let him know when family events are. And I think he would be out and about like many corporate men are. I will tell you, I have dealt with thousands of people in this same situation. When you get donors at a certain level, at a certain um, ability to, I mean, a certain richness, if you will. And that's what Forrest has been at for quite a while. I think that's what happens. He was the corporate, she was the family, and they worked well. They coordinated things and they moved on with, okay, this is what I'm doing today or not, or whatever it is. And I think it worked really well for them. That's my opinion from my experiences in my life, which there's been, I don't know, maybe a few hundred that I've experienced at that same level of wealth that just has, they each had their pieces and parts.
So I will ask you this question and just answer whatever your opinion is. But if this is true that Forrest did make this trip to Yellowstone, and we haven't pinpointed when, so sometime in that year, 2009 to 2010, do you think that was his last trip to the Yellowstone area? Or do you know if he's been back since then at all? Since after the book
Um,
came out?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I
Hmm.
would say I don't have any information. If it was, it would only be a day or two. I think he's traveled much less.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't. I know some personal things switched for him, so he's been in New Mexico for a while. I don't know when that started. I don't pry into his personal life. He volunteers some things, or we've discussed things with. I mean, my mom um, passed, and so we had some things that we talked about in
Hmm.
general in our lives. So I don't remember anything to say this is the last time or that sort of thing. So there's some things that we shared that, or I shared, that there could been discussion, but nothing stands out to say this is the last time kind of thing. I will say when the reporter came out with Forrest has not been back to Yellowstone since he was a kid, I asked him, like, what? What do you mean? Because I do remember him saying in our conversations he had been back since he was a kid. And he was like, oh my gosh, I just meant not the whole summer. That was the only thing that came out. And it wasn't groundbreaking. It was just like, come on, there's not a there. It's a reporter, and reporters suck. Reporters do not know information. And hey, since there's already a lawsuit being filed about somebody else that I said sucked, yeah, reporters suck. All of the reporters sue me for saying that. Reporters suck.
All right, so I had titled the vlog "Navigating the Thrill of the Chase" because I thought we were going to get to the book, but I should have known that just talking about Forrest travel plans was going to take up about 45 minutes. So let's just save the thrill of the chase for next time because I got to get off and get these kids some dinner. So, do you want to keep going, and I'll just do what I got to do and
Oh,
mute
that
it,
could be very dangerous.
or we just want to end it early tonight? What do you think? Does anybody have questions? What do you think, or do you want to stay on and just answer questions?
No, I think it's better if we. I mean, we can hold to the hour. I will need to drop off at the hour mark. I have kids; they're just not as young as Mike's kids. So, and I have some things that are happening. But I will be more than Joe Lewicki saying Zoom. Okay, I want to go check on my kids. Mike, send Joe Lewicki the
Okay.
and let's bring it.
All right. Sounds good. All
I'll
right,
be
Joel,
right-
it's coming your way.
Here we go.
All right, everybody, get something to drink and sit back. It could get interesting. And I'll be right back. So will K-Pro.
Okay, I'm back. Where's Joel? Did I miss something? Another. Hello, friend. How are you?
I'd like the record to reflect that it's Monday, July 1st at approximately 8:51 Central Standard Time.
Oh, I just got an email from Forrest. Drop off now. Drop off now. I'm totally kidding. Yeah. Oh boy. What I get myself into. Here comes Joel. He seems nice, you guys, because he's from Minnesota, but let's see where this goes.
Oh, whatever. Well, we've got 9 minutes till you've got to go anyways, right?
That 9 minutes can make or break a case, can it?
Maybe even less.
Okay, bring it, lawyer. Bring it, lawyer. Oh, Mike's coming in for the rescue.
How can this go on without me being here? I'll watch the replay.
Don't
I got to
look
take some,
into the
I have to
beard.
consult my notes here.
Don't look into the beard.
So, Joel, was this new info for you about a possible trip in the year when we think he hid the chest?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Did it match what you had heard?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
I do know, I have heard reports that he's been back to the area to fish since then, since the hiding of the chest. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I'm not the one who's being deposed here, Miss Thor, if that is your real name.
It's not. It's awesome. And everybody knows my real name because there's videos. There you go.
Yeah,
I will talk
that
about my real name. I won't talk about my. If you go with my kids, I'll cut you. But go ahead. I just brought it. Sorry, did I shake you?
That's funny. I've never heard you mention that before. Okay, so
Joel is
now you claim to have gotten this super secret information from a relative of Forrest Fenn's, correct?
Yes,
And you had never met this individual before?
correct.
And you You don't know from any personal experience that he's actually a relative of Forrest Fenn, do you?
Not until afterward. At the time, no. I actually went to Dal Neitzel. I don't know if you've heard of that site. It's dalneitzel.com. And I searched his name, and he has come up in several different scrapbooks and references.
And have you ever seen a picture of this chip that's referenced in those scrapbooks?
On Dal Neitzel's site?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No.
So you don't know what the chip who's referenced in those scrapbooks looks like to know if it's the same person you were talking with?
That's correct.
So you don't know, did you independently verify the identity of the individual you were speaking with at that time?
Yes, I did.
And how did you identify him as the person you were speaking with?
Forrest Fenn. With an individual that might have known his identity. Oh, I'm not good at this. Okay. Oh, I don't have an attorney representing me, and well...
You do. He just left. I'm not sure where he went.
He's not an attorney. He's not an attorney. Okay, but keep going.
He plays one on YouTube.
Okay. You know what? I'm fine with this. Because I want it out to the community, and I want people to know if it's valid, not valid. So these are the kinds of questions that I actually think are good to have. So you claim to have gotten this super secret information during your conversation with this individual that you claim lasted for several hours. Is that correct? I do not claim it's super secret information. It's just information I stumbled upon. I think that's an important quote. I stumbled upon it.
And would you say that the fact that Forrest had stayed there during that time was a very important fact?
I think it was informational that it, yes, I
did you consider it to be important at the time?
Yeah, I think it was helpful in knowing that it was not, yes, I do.
And that information included enough information for you to go check the registry at the hotel. You physically went to this ranch?
Yes.
So it was important enough for you to devote more time to go there, and yet your testimony today, could we read back the record, is that you don't remember the exact name of the ranch?
I will say it a little bit differently. I remember it a certain way, but a famous searcher, and we can depose her, I hope, and subpoena her and make her testify. When I said the name of it, she's like, you keep saying it wrong. Kind of like Fenbury. I said it's Fenbury for many times. That was a simple and honest mistake, even though I should just be answering yes or no, Mr. Lawyer. I wanted to give a little bit of honest feedback.
That is why you should have an attorney representing you, actually.
Yeah.
So I'd like the record to reflect that Christy doesn't know how to pronounce words. So that's your own testimony, is that you...
Exactly. And I can give you my doctor for 10 years that I was dyslexic and I had a very hard time reading until I was almost in the 10th grade, where they thought I was enough to pass the GED and I needed to just be happy with that.
So it's your testimony here tonight that you're not very reliable.
Exactly. So that's what all of the people need to hear. And so you just discount this and let's move on.
So let's go back to a question from earlier in the room where you said if I had a direct question, I would answer it, but you weren't just going to give out information. Do you remember when you said that?
I do recall. I recall that at this time vaguely.
Vaguely. Okay. So a couple of direct questions. Do you remember if it was daughter or daughters who were searching?
Daughter.
Do you remember if you knew at that time which daughter it was? You don't have to say which one, but did you know which one it was?
Well, I actually do believe that the person was named, but I don't recall that. I do not take detailed notes of each of the meetings that I have with various researchers or searchers. So I do remember it being said, but for the life of me, I couldn't remember which one.
And was it discussed where they were searching?
Yes.
Was the location specified beyond the area surrounding West Yellowstone?
No.
Did you discuss with that individual what they considered to be the area around West Yellowstone?
In relation to the daughters?
In relation to your understanding of the geographic area of West Yellowstone? So, for instance, is Canada or St. Louis, Missouri in the area or vicinity of West Yellowstone?
For the searcher or for the family members of Forrest Fenn? I'm not understanding the question.
Can the record reflect, please, that Ms. Thor is non-responsive to the question?
Okay. Yes. Actually, in both cases, it's yes. So I'll say yes.
And to this day, has that information affected where you plan to search?
No.
No. Never mind.
Wait, is she telling the truth? Do we know?
Mexico, for God's sake. I mean, no. I mean, at the time, I was up in the northern states. It's like confirmation, and then it was like, no, I'm going to go to New Mexico. Confirmation bias, and now I'm back up north. I'm like confirmation. I mean, yeah.
Well, did we?
So that actually brings up an interesting question. Did you discuss with this alleged relative of Forrest Fenn whether or not he or any of the other family members had searched in other places?
No.
And when you referenced the fact that family members were searching, was it always in the context of West Yellowstone, or was it in the context of searching in general?
Context of West Yellowstone area, not West Yellowstone. The northern search area. I won't even say West Yellowstone. Like I didn't say.
But you didn't clarify with him whether they were all searching there or whether or not they had searched maybe somewhere else.
Correct.
And you don't know when those searches would have taken place?
Digging deep here.
Ms. Thor, what exactly is it you'd say no?
Did I say no to? Did I get super secret hints?
No. Okay. Well, so it is interesting, right? But I posed a question in the room.
I have no idea if this is interesting.
Did you actually figure anything out, Joel, or no?
Well,
I mean, from your interrogation. I'm going to rename the vlog "The Interrogation."
And I should not be having milk right now.
Nah. Did we figure out where this place was, the Paradise Resort, or do we not know?
I'm pretty sure it's Parade Rest is the ranch. It's an all-inclusive ranch off Hebgen. It's on Grayling Creek. It's like $300 a night.
Well, then why were you saying Paradise? So you just had it wrong, Christy?
What was it called?
Parade.
Yes, I'm the first to say. I say Hebden wrong. I say Fenbury wrong.
Parade Rest Resort?
Joel spanked me on that earlier.
I put the link in the chat earlier. I'm not sure if it went through.
Okay. So let me ask this. If we believe that this is where Forrest traveled to, follow the logic and see if you guys agree with me or not. And everybody in the chat, give me a yes or no. If this is the place where he stayed, this Parade Rest Guest Ranch, which is up there by Hegben Lake, Hegben Lake to Cody is like a 4-hour drive. Is that correct? Whether you go through the park, you go around the park. What?
Mike, no, we've been there.
Not to Cody. I've never been to Cody.
Cody. I thought you said
yeah, no, Cody. Isn't it like a 4-hour drive?
Yes.
So that tells me that Forrest didn't hide it in Cody because he was back home in one afternoon. In other words, if he's in the West Yellowstone area, he doesn't have time to drive all the way to the other side of the park, hide the treasure chest, come all the way back, because it would be like an all-day thing. And he says he was only gone in an afternoon. Does that logic make sense to anybody, or does it not make sense to anybody?
I asked the lawyer. I am on yes and no's only because the room told me to. Does that make sense? Maybe.
Mike, I agree with you. I think that logic is sound. Knowing what we know, unless he was gone for more than just the afternoon to actually do it. Now, he said that he did it in an afternoon.
Right.
So maybe he means from his car to the spot, back to his car,
Okay.
back to the spot, and back to his car was all in one afternoon.
Let me throw out, what if he was in Cody, or what if he was in West Yellowstone? Mike, we drove by the airport. He jumped on a little puddle jumper and went over to Cody in 30 minutes, and the little guy
Possible.
hit his little indulgence love and then popped right back over with no one being the wiser. Saying.
So
I guess it's possible.
So I enjoy that kind of thought exercise because we don't know how he did it, and we might not need to figure out how he did it, but he had to figure out how to do it. Right? And we know
protect the love of his life to make sure that she didn't know too much.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Yep. I don't think he would put her near, and that's where I say the general area rather than specifics. I don't think he would put Peggy in harm's way, and if people knew that she knew exactly, I think that puts, I mean, look at the granddaughter, my goodness.
Yeah. No, and let me go on record as saying that from everything that I know, no one close to him has any knowledge of where he put it. That's what he's told us. I don't think anyone has. I'm going to
take my lawyer deposition hat off and say I completely agree with Joel right now, because it is so important for people to realize.
Yeah, we'll also go on record and say leave Forrest alone.
Well, leave Forrest's family alone. I don't think there's kids, grandkids. No. That was one of the
questions. Of course not.
No, I wasn't asked this.
Yeah.
That was one of the questions I asked Chip is, do you know? Do you think somebody else knows? He's like, that guy's a vault. And again, I think you could hide it. I think he could hide it and nobody would know, but it is with him.
I think that he enjoys to a pretty great degree that the people that know him best don't know where it is. Yeah. I think
somebody said on Reddit today,
I think he likes that.
Is it a one-man show or many people monitoring his emails and all that? In my opinion only. Oh no, it was on Harry's. I'm sorry, I got to give Harry's, and it was actually Tilo. I just met him. One man show. I believe.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
I don't believe anybody else monitors his emails. I don't believe anybody else looks at the solves that are sent to him. I think he is a one man show when it comes to that. My opinion. I could be wrong. Just what I know of this chase, and it might be a smidge more than the general person, or a smidge less, because I get taken like anybody else. I just don't believe it, but that's just my opinion.
Well, I also think he would have protected his family by nobody else knows, because nobody else knows. It's a protection of his family as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. So did I?
Interesting
how
stuff.
did I do as a witness? Did I do okay?
Oh, excellent. So good.
That means I totally took you to town and I loved it.
Not that well.
So Joel, did I hear you say that you think he has been back up there since the book came out, 2010?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. No, I believe that is the case. Yeah.
Do you have any proof of that, or is it just an opinion?
I have. Well,
I didn't ask you to go into it. I just said, do you have it?
I have it on very good information that he's been back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and Deep Thinker says Joel Lewicki, except for K-Pro, who is Forrest Fenn. And I do have to say, some people, even though I've met them, some people think this is like a robot, and I'm actually Forrest Fenn. And I want to say,
I wouldn't say I go that far.
Go, I was going to say, you're 7%ers then. You need to go to a hospital. Like, you need to go, and if you're...
Or maybe it's like a day treatment facility, like some sort of outpatient thing.
Drugs. There's some drugs that are legal nowadays. Like, use them. Help yourself.
Okay, so the journey through the thrill of the chase would have been great. But this is good, too, because... as much as I like the idea... Okay. Mm-hmm. And I like the confirmation that, maybe he was there with his family. How would he have done this in 1988 if he actually had cancer? So
he would have thought of everything. He would not have thought of everything, because Al Gore would not have been at the internet.
Okay. So, and maybe this would be a good, because this is something that I've given quite a bit of thought to. Maybe it would be a good future show topic, since everyone had to go at 9 and it's 9:07 or whatever time it is where you live. But Forrest would not have been able to park a car in the general area where he did it because he would have been found too quickly. So he had to have thought through how he would get to some place in the woods.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Or the mountains to hide a treasure chest and put his body there in a place where his family wouldn't immediately go look for him if they had good reason to do so. And personally, I'm of the opinion that this is one of the things that he says, if a person thinks they may be able to come up with an important clue about the location of the treasure chest.
Interesting.
Because,
okay.
We don't have to think through this, but the spot hasn't changed for Forrest, and he would have had to think through it then. Maybe that's why he didn't do it when he had the diagnosis. But, I mean, he got better, too. Right. We don't know that that's the only reason that he didn't do it. But I think that there's, there's something there.
Go ahead, K-Pro.
Okay, so though I appreciate the articulate thought, I could not disagree with you more. He did not care whether it was right on a road, right off a road. He's always had it in his mind. So did he care? Somebody would find, as he's in his weakest moment and ready to die, they'd find his body in 4 hours or 24 or 48 or 72. I don't think he did. Though you bring up an interesting point, I just don't think that is a differentiation factor for me, because he's always had the spot in his mind. If they put a little bathroom right there,
even if he's always had the spot, right? He didn't want someone to just stumble on it and find this and find his body right away.
Especially if it's not an abandoned car. So in other words, here's Forrest Fenn's car. Now there he is. He's a mile away. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Is how would he get there without leaving a trail?
He could only walk so far with it. So what was his plan? What was he going to do?
Well, could it have been the 2 parking lots that he's talked about, or that has been referenced way back then in '88? I don't know.
And that's the question, right? Like, if he was going to park it there, he obviously wasn't going to put it in close vicinity to those places.
Well, in '88, wouldn't he have flown to? Wouldn't he have went to an airport with the treasure chest, flown wherever it was? Back in '88, I'm assuming he still had his pilot license and could do this. So now,
okay.
So there's a flight plan to an airport, but from there. I mean,
we're talking about a guy who owned a freaking alligator. Like, he sold counterfeit. Like, does he?
I understand that.
My license that day. He's going, no, I'm dying. I don't care what I'm doing. I'm a fighter jet pilot.
Okay, so he doesn't do the flight log. What's he do with the plane? Someone's going to find his plane.
Who cares?
They're going to know where he is.
But I think even if we do the airport, that may give us a state. I still don't think it helps. If he just disappeared from the airport, I think he could be anywhere.
I think if he flew a plane, okay, and that's a big if, then that tells us quite a bit right there.
That it's not New Mexico, right?
So let's channel our Indiana Jones. Does Indiana Jones go, I don't have a license today?
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, if you read the Codex, Doug Preston's book,
which I still have to read,
right?
Yeah.
So in that book, the sons find out where the father went because they check the travel logs. They find out that he purchased tickets to this place.
Because he's smart. This is showing what he has done smarter than the next person, because if you check it, he's already thought of everything. This is showing he thought of everything. Everything in here, he's thought better than that.
And that's my point. So if the sons in that book were able to figure out where dad went because they were able to do some sleuthing, Forrest thought about that. So he came up with a workaround. I think if we know the answer, the actual answer to that workaround, it may help us.
So what we're talking about is travel where you're not identified. I mean, with the bus, Tim Walker says maybe he took a bus. Did they take your name when you get a bus ticket? I don't know.
Wait, Forrest Fenn's not sitting on a bus. Like, come on, no.
But Joel's point is then how did he get to a spot? He's not going to just leave his car. If he would have done it back in 1988 when he would have died there with him.
Okay, think of A Few Good Men. Can you drop something off a log? For the right amount of money, I can tell you, I've been around enough billionaires. For the right amount of money, stuff. I guarantee, Joel, you know that money makes stuff happen. Guarantee.
But then somebody would know. Whoever he's paying would know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he would not want that. And Forrest has thought about this. He said, "What's wrong with me riding my bike out to the special spot and tossing it in the water high?"
Right.
So we know he's thought about it. So what was his plan? That's one of my favorite lines.
I'm going to flip the switch here. I want to ask you a question.
It's one of my favorite lines from The Hunt for Red October. What's his plan? The average Ruski doesn't take a dump without a plan. So if we can figure out what his plan is, or was, I think that might help. Okay, fine. Go with your question. And then we got to go because it's...
Here's a PS. Yes, because we have to go. What did you do here? You've just derailed the whole night. What if...
Guilty.
Okay, do you believe learning how to ride the bicycle, the backwards bicycle, can help us solve this poem? This is good.
Yes, absolutely.
So the backward engineer.
And here's why. Because people that solve treasure hunts write treasure hunts and know how to solve treasure hunts. And this is different. It's different than Jenny Kyle's books. Okay, I love her stuff. I love her mind. But it is different than that. Yeah. There is nothing else that's like this, and so we have to think about it differently.
What about
I don't think
lawyer? What about Forrest Lawyer, Mr. Lawyer? Do you think that he knows?
I know what you're thinking. It's not me.
No, I don't think it's you. But do you think that he knows? And if he did, do you think he can do anything about it, or is he sworn to secrecy?
No, I do not think that the lawyer knows.
Okay.
No, okay. I think that the lawyer was tasked with answering the question. I want to know what happens if I do this.
Right, and I think he put some red herrings in there to make sure. So, can I ask you one last question? This is the last one. Since you deposed me in full legal...
that was not a deposition.
You took the time and the recording. You took my blood. I mean, it was pretty intense. Are you going to allow me to do the same thing of you in the future?
You okay?
I'm going to try to get through it, but I got my jungle juice here. I've got my cow juice here. I'm fine. Are you going to allow me to do the same of you?
Anytime.
Okay. Future show, I'm going to hold you to it.
Not a problem.
Maybe on the marathon.
Yeah.
There we go.
So, Joel, on YouTube, have you ever seen the deposition of Marcus Lemonis?
Marcus, no. I don't know.
You know who he is from The Prophet?
The
show, The Prophet?
I know the Prophet guy.
So, if you look, Marcus Lemonis' deposition, it's a deposition, and there's a lawyer who commented, it was like, this is what you do, because he was just like, I don't know. Maybe. His answers were just straight up. He would only answer succinctly exactly what he was asked and nothing more. And you could tell the guy questioning him was getting frustrated. It's pretty cool.
The room was like, stop answering questions. Just say yes or no. Only answer yes or no. And I was like, well, no, this isn't legit. But then I got yes. No.
Well, and you want to know.
Yes. No.
Okay, so now think about this. Forrest has been asked, and he has answered a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And he likes to promote this idea of like, oh, shucks, I just made it out of school as a kid, you know? Somehow I made it in to be a fighter pilot and, right? Like, retired a major after teaching other fighter pilots how to fly.
Right.
Somehow. And he is super good at answering questions. Look at, and for an example, look at how he answers the school kids' questions when they wrote in. And he said, I think I know what they were, I'm paraphrasing. He says, I think I know what they were trying to ask, but I'm going to answer what they actually asked.
Oh, is that right?
And, it's just great. It's great. And you can see how much fun he has with it. I mean, it's really wonderful. And that's okay. And I think for a lot of people that are in this, that's what they like, is matching wits with Forrest Fenn. Like, that's the fun part.
That's okay. So some people have called me a bully and a terrible, rotten human being because that is the matching wits part. Give Forrest that, because him and I have had a relationship not based on Forrest, I think you're so great. Do you think and he does it back to me and we go and I've sat in front of billionaire donors. I've sat in front of other people that and I have had to dance a dance. That's not Forrest and and I think that's okay. I think that's what he likes is to be challenged. He wants to be challenged and challenged back. He likes to say, PhD, you need a crutch. And I like to say, Forrest Fenn, give us a hint. And he likes to say, and we go back and forth. And the people that have been around us went, holy hell. One has said, I was about going to get into it with him and jump up on your behalf. One of them said, I would have cried if I would have been there. That's just our way. And we both loved it. It did, or we both seemed to love it. Like,
it sounds really unhealthy, to be honest.
I know. And that's why I will never see him again because I'm a healthy human being. And he just needs the people that want to put their nose right up their butts. And that'll work out great for them this week.
If you ask them, maybe they'll connect you with him. So you never know.
I don't know.
What does that T-shirt mean, Joel?
This?
Yeah.
I know where it is.
Why haven't you gone to pick it up?
What's that?
Why haven't you gone to pick it up?
Yeah, that's
my
a good
family, my kids, $1 million isn't it. I'm more rich in life than that. Wonk, wonk, wonk. Come on.
How do you go with confidence? That's what I want to know. He makes it sound as if we're supposed to, but I don't know.
Maybe if he knew how he was going to get there in 1988, it would help.
That tells me maybe it's not that far. I know it's not in close proximity to a human trail. And he has also said people will be surprised when they find out where it is. I thought he said that. So to me, maybe it's not in some remote location like we think.
How cocky he is. Why haven't you picked it up? We didn't hear it. You're busy? You didn't quite get around to it? What?
Yeah, I don't know.
Pause for effect here.
Well, I think if we learned anything today, we know it's up in Montana. We're never going to convince anybody. New Mexico's still in New Mexico. Yeah. The Colorado searchers are still in Colorado. But I think it is interesting that I think we've kind of proven that he was up in that area.
You know, Mike, I think it's great that you think that, and I'm going to let you because someone told me not to interrupt your enemies while they're making a mistake. So Montana sounds just great.
Montana, Wyoming, you know.
I did hear, I don't know if this is true, but sometime in 2009, 2010, Forrest was in New Mexico. This is shocking.
That's right.
I have gotten secret information.
That he was in New Mexico? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty
cool. Prove it.
Yeah, prove it. So there you have it. I don't know. I just, okay. Joel Lewicki has broken this hunt loose. I want to thank you for the hard-hitting questions. And I'm sorry, I'll have a tissue here somewhere. I barely made it through. It was tough, but I did.
Hey, what the heck?
I'm not sure who's ringing, but...
No, it's me. I just don't know why. Actually, I can't even answer it.
That wasn't me calling him.
I was going to say, everybody else needs to, like, mine keeps blowing up, and I'm like, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, people sending you messages while you do this is very...
Yeah. I'll just pick it up on live. Yeah, that's true.
Come on, people.
Well, they're trying to give me messages. We're not like Toby and Shelley. We don't have all that software and hardware and all that. So, okay. So
or Toby and Guest, single tier. What's up with that? Shelley, come back.
Well, I think they're just evolve. They always evolve. They always.
I know.
That's all I'm taking it as, and I think it's going to continue to evolve. And I just hope that. Well, I hope both things. So I'll just leave it at that. There you have it.
Montana, interesting place. Okay. All right, everybody. What? That's just my opinion. That's all. But if it's true, I was stuck in New Mexico for 2 years. What the heck?
Montana or Wyoming?
Either. Borders, remember? Okay, borders.
That's my point. Is don't say Montana and we could have lawsuits against us saying that we were.
Yeah, good luck. I can say whatever I want. It's my YouTube channel. What's that?
You know what's on the border is Glacier National Park.
Oh, where warm waters halt, apparently.
The most searched place, according to Forrest.
Did he say there's more people up in Glacier National Park than there are in
Yeah, he
Yellowstone?
said, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh, we didn't even bring up Thor, this little known
We
website.
didn't have time. We blew
We
right
didn't
by
have
it.
time. I mean,
I heard that got shut down.
Oh, it's coming.
Oh no, they're trying. And you know what? Copyright violation people, okay, Mike, I'm sorry. Bring it on. Bring the lawsuits on. You guys are
Oh boy,
insane.
this is where I leave. Okay.
Joel's like, la 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 la.
There you go.
You cannot hold me liable for anything. All right.
There you go. And Joel is my representation.
No, I don't.
Sorry, I apologize because that was not true. That was called sarcasm for those of you that do not know. But Joel Lewicki, Lewicki.
Seriously, so you can't go anywhere with her.
Seriously, I know. Pro bono. Oh my God. And pro bono. Oh, Brian Eagle says it's pro bono. I didn't realize. Thank you.
Yeah, he actually spelled pro bone o.
It's actually on. It's actually on contingency if she finds the chest.
That's there you go.
Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. No, I mean every lawsuit I've won so far. We'll see. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Well, we're way over tonight. Don't know how this happened. I just want to thank everybody for
Good night, everybody. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Thank you both for this spirited conversation. Didn't know it was going to go this way, but I think it's fun. Oh, he's gone. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thumbs the video up if you like it. It's obviously in the Hegman Lake area. Subscribe to the channel because we're going to do more of these. And it's just all opinion, but it's a good, logical, I think, thought process to talk this stuff out and to get different opinions. So, I think, anyway. All right. Anything else, K-Pro, before we sign off?
Yes. What? Thursday, we need to actually dive into. I mean, I hope we can do a show Thursday because there's some things happening.
Thursday is July 4th. It is the holiday, so I'm not going to guarantee that we'll go. Yeah, Thursday is the 4th of July, so I may want to take the kids somewhere for fireworks. So there will be a video Thursday, but it could be a pre-recorded video is what I'm trying to say. Might not be us going live. We don't know yet. We still have to figure that one out.
And I will say there may or may not be some things that are going to happen in the next couple of weeks.
Uh-oh.
And if you see them, I mean, Mike, you could just pretend all you want. Academy Award-winning whatever. So we're hoping to bring some fun and
yeah, that'll be down the road though, but we'll get there. Femboree, good luck to everybody going to Femboree. Stay safe. Say hi to Forrest for me if you see him there. Good luck in all the drawings and all the craziness they have going on.
Tony Driver Anagram says please just not a baby crying.
That's right. It will not be a baby crying. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. We love you all, and there's going to be some bigger things, and we're going to start talking about. There's a little known book. So looky there, baby. So here we go. All
right, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because just like we went live over the weekend, you never know when we might go live again to have these kinds of discussions. So what, buddy? All right, Chris here. Come here. Say hi to everybody. What Mr. No Shirt on. The kids want watermelon, so that's what I'm about to go do. So, all right, everybody, we will see you, if not Thursday, we'll see you next week. Good luck at Femboree, and stay safe, everybody. Bye.